So we're recording all over the place. Let's hope this works. Okay, so everybody, I'm really happy to see you. And Lucy, you are going to register for it, do you think? Or you're waiting till you hear today and then you decide, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think I already decided, but I kind of want to wait after this conference.
Yeah, okay, all right. Because I've got 3 students right now, and they've been changing. So
okay. Yeah, because
you just registered for it, and then somebody that couldn't meet earlier than 4:15, who's the reason it's at 4:15, she dropped it, and then somebody else dropped it.
So Nancy is not taking it?
Nancy is still in it,
okay,
but she couldn't make it. She's the one in Middlebury, okay? So she couldn't take it because, I don't know, commitments, and so that's why I'm recording it. Okay.
Great.
All right, so here's the course. Everybody except Lucy is already in it. So you should be able to see all of this. Melody, can you see what we're seeing? I clicked on modules.
I can click on.
Yeah, so I think I have to walk you through it because it doesn't do it automatically. Okay, so if you could click on modules, and it's great because I don't know about Nancy. Has she taken an online course?
Sean's class was online.
Okay, she was in Sean's class. That's great. Okay, it's great for me because then there are a few things I don't need to do. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if Sean's class was organized like this, but let me just give you a little bit of background. Lucy, there is a sheet going around.
I'm sorry, I left
that
it over
one
there.
Yeah.
I made a royal mess of adding my information.
It's okay. So I've got Melody. I already know your background, so you don't need to fill this out. But I didn't know Nancy or Diana, and there will be. What do I call it? A course information sheet coming. It's a survey type instrument coming on Monday. Because I like to start the course with content on day 1. So January 14th, we're going to hit content, and any kind of startup information I collect beforehand. So startup information that I need for this course is what kind of curriculum are you interested in? And that is determined by where you are, what you're doing right now, what kind of job you have, what you're planning to do in the future, okay? So it could be that you're going to do something totally different with your MAT SAW degree, or, same thing, just in a different position, or what have you. So it's really important for me to know in order to tailor my suggestions for what kind of curriculum you guys need to write, okay? And Lucy and I have already discussed that a little bit. She might be writing it on teaching Chinese, okay? Yeah. So, yeah, that's totally up to her, and that's definitely possible, okay? She'll be writing it in English, of course, but about teaching Chinese. Okay, so in January, the course home is open to you already, and I worked today on the getting started orientation document, so that is green. It's available to you. There's a lot of background information about how I run the course, okay? And I will ask you at some point in time soon to read through this and give me terms of agreement that you have actually read this, okay? So I just posted times that that there are recess times, and I will be away for a few days in February, going to a conference, and then again to the TESOL conference in March. Is anybody going there? No?
I don't think
Lucy?
so.
No?
Atlanta? No.
No? Okay. No? It's a nice city and it's warm.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that part. Melody, yes?
Where can they find the getting started document?
In modules,
Oh, right, I see.
yeah? Okay. So that's part of the course home, and I suppose I could close it down, but there is no need to. But if you look at the other, and I'm just gonna click on the other links there, so I do have for the readings moderators, okay, and these are from last year. So I have not updated this document yet. And I don't know if Sean had moderators. So we will have 2 course books, and I will tell you about those. And there will be moderators for, not for the readings, as we did in call, okay? So Melody and Lucy, there will be moderators only for the sharing forum. And the sharing what you learned forum, you guys know, is here are links for you to explore, you know, there will be lots of documents. I have tons of documents in there that you can choose. You can pick and choose to whatever your needs are, okay? And then you write a summary and a reaction, okay? So that will be your tasks. In this particular course, there is no reading moderator because we're all reading similar chapters, okay? From the 2 books, and I will detail that a little bit more later. And I don't know how it was in Sean's class, but my courses start on Monday and end on Sunday. Okay, was that similar?
Yeah, he had at the beginning that we had to submit assignments by Friday morning.
Oh.
And for several of us that were working, that
Yeah,
was
that's
really
very
difficult.
Yeah.
And I asked him if we could put it to Friday midnight so we could have a chance after work to make sure we had taken care of things. And but I think, Melody, is that kind of how it was, Friday at midnight and then Sunday for comments?
Well, Monday night, there was also something to do. It was like Friday at midnight and Monday at midnight. So
Okay.
I guess
That's right.
I sort of thought of the new week as starting on Tuesday,
Yeah.
but I don't think it was an official course week.
Yeah.
Could you turn the volume up for Melody?
I tried.
Okay.
I tried. And there is no other place where I can turn the volume up any further.
Okay.
Is that
It's,
better?
Oh, yeah.
no, not really, Melody. I think it has something to do with our equipment here. I have everything maxed out to the max, so that's probably as good as it'll be. But you can hear us, and that's the most important part, right?
Yes.
Okay. So back to online courses, distance courses typically start on Monday and end on Sunday, okay? And it's because people are all over the world, people have jobs, and so that's just been best practices for many, many years. And Lucy knows I've taught, and Melody knows I've been teaching and designing online courses for 20 years, so that is what it is.
So all the response, one thing Sean had that was helpful was a description of the role, but is the moderator what you're expecting from us? Is it on there somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is in there. There's probably quite a bit of verbiage, and Lucy and Melody can attest to the fact that, my instructions are probably lengthy, but I did not get questions like, I don't understand what this means.
Okay.
Okay, so, it's taken many years to get to that point where now there are no longer any questions, and that's good, okay? But we will talk about the roles. Okay, so I will, of course, update this one to 2019 once I know how many students I have. Okay, so at the moment it's 3. If Lucy adds, it'll be 4. Okay, going back. This also I have not updated yet, so what you guys always want to do is look at the latest update date there, okay? And this one is fairly easy to do. I will put in the dates, the new dates on the left. There are still the old ones. I've updated the syllabus a little bit, but not this document yet. So there's quite a bit of updating that I have to do, okay? The chapters that you see there, and by the way, I'm on right now on the course schedule, Melody. I clicked on the course schedule link. Okay, I should have told you. So the readings that are in there are based on the first edition, and we have a second edition out. So let me quickly go back to the syllabus. So if you could click on the syllabus link, Melody, and scroll down a little bit. The required textbooks are there. So there are 2. And I've been using those for several years, except that Richards is now in a second edition, which is great. And Melody, you actually, you found it and you've already got it, right?
Yes, I have both the textbooks.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that we need to get?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just checked today if they're in the bookstore yet. They're not there yet, but they're in the process of moving all the old books out and putting
Right.
new ones on the shelves, okay? So if you go to the bookstore and ask Steve if he's got these books in the back already, he will tell you, or email him, okay? But I've also got links there to Amazon, and you can order them through the bookstore. Okay. The
Excited
links,
to read The
where do you
Nation.
have the links to Amazon? I just updated that.
I'll be able to find it.
Yeah, and I have a direct link, and I just updated the link, and I don't know where that was. Okay. So there is more information there, but I think I'll come back to the syllabus in a minute. So, one more comment about the books. Why do I use 2? They are somewhat similar, they cover similar things, but they have different perspectives. Richards wrote his first book in 2001. It is full, and I meant to bring them, I forgot. It is full of resources, real hands-on resources that you can use, such as designing a needs assessment. There are examples, okay?
Oh, that's great.
Designing a survey of what have you, there are examples. Designing assessments, there are examples. So those resources I find really, really valuable, okay? And then, of course, he is a well-known authority in curriculum and syllabus design, and has been for many years. The second one is by Paul Nation, and I think it's John McAllister. You will really like this book because it has all the information. It is a little bit more theoretical, but it has excellent explanations, graphics, and each chapter is pretty short. There are a couple of chapters that are longer, but it's shorter than the Richards chapters, so you will appreciate it. And students have told me at first it takes a little bit of getting used to this writing style. It's a bit more intense than Richards. Richards is more narrative, okay? But it's also, the chapters are longer, okay? Both of them are really good, and so what I do with the reading discussions, and you know this, Lucy and Melody, you do too, I like for each one of you to tell me which one you're going to choose, and I hope that not everybody is going to choose the same chapter. Okay, so I try to cover the same topic with both books, and you guys post your summaries. Everybody else in class, including me, should be able to understand what the chapter is about by reading your summary, and then you write a reaction to it. Okay? And As Lucy and Melody remember, first, your summaries and reactions were very long, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did I say?
Only 10 lines. Yeah, well, 10
Yeah,
lines will
one
work.
paragraph, okay? So, yeah, if you guys look at them, the summaries tended to get longer again.
I know,
So,
I definitely, there was like a curve.
yeah. So I'm not requiring more than, if you have to do 2 paragraphs, but keep it to less than a page, single-spaced, okay? I do not want lengthy summaries. That is not the goal here, because we've all read this, okay? And so we should expect the others to be familiar with it. The really important part is in the reaction. How do you apply this to your current teaching situation or your learners? You know, how does this apply to your learners? You know, what are some of the issues that you find with this particular chapter that either apply or don't apply to your situation? Okay, so we'll go back, Melody, to the home, or to modules. Okay, so the third one is the course calendar, and that's where I showed you the chapters. My assignment for this break is to look at the chapters and see how they have changed versus the first edition, okay? To see if those chapters still work the way I have them assigned here, okay? So I would not look at this document quite yet, okay? I will let you know when the documents are ready, okay? They will be ready before the course begins. And as always, at the bottom, there is terms of agreement, so I expect you to submit that to me when it's ready. I will email you and ask you to just put that into an email, just copy and paste this into an email to me. Okay, any questions so far?
No.
Okay, now different from the call course, Melody and Lucy, I'm going to look at, and we will have some web conferences which we did in the call course, okay? There's most likely going to be a web conference in the first week or at the end of the first week or maybe beginning of the second week, just like we had in call. There will be one at the end. Based on feedback I got from just last year's students in this course, one person strongly requested, oh, there's my email. Okay, I think I may turn that off. I just had it on to make sure that I caught Melody. Okay, so they requested and strongly suggested that I have a web conference in the middle. So I think I put it into week 6, which is what they had recommended, okay? Typically with web conferences is, you know, people are busy and I don't hold them unless there's a need. You can always tell me I need a conference with everybody or just a conference with you, and I will make that happen, okay? But a web conference with everybody to make sure everybody's on the same page, that's important, and so
if
that's what they suggest.
That first weekend, I will be with my French students in Montreal the whole weekend. That's going to be really challenging to, but will it be okay if I let you know in advance, and I'll do my best to.
Yes.
But
and
that,
so on that
one
sign-up sheet, and there will be another one coming out, Melody and Lucy already know this, I usually send out are you pretty good with Google?
Yeah.
Okay. So it will be a Google sheet where you tell me when you're available, when you're not available for chats.
Okay.
I mean, I have held chats during the week. When I had large classes, I had to have 2 chats, you know, but most of the time they have been on the weekends. Often Saturday morning, also Sunday morning. It's run the gamut, okay? So if there are days
That's the
that
only
you're
weekend that will be really hard, because we'll
Okay.
be very early in the morning, and they're all 15 and 16, so I have
Right.
them scheduled
Yes.
pretty heavily until they fall asleep at night. So,
Yeah, you
and we're
better
coming back
watch
late
them. You're
Sunday.
not going to
So
have any time in between. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I will schedule around your schedule. Okay. Now it's a little bit of an issue because Melody is 6 hours ahead, but it's not a big one. We can work with that. I don't have anybody in Asia right now. That's usually the sticky wicket. So should be fine. Okay. Melody, I'm clicking on week 1, tasks and assignments, January 14th to the 20th. Okay, so you might want to click on that as well. And so this is what the week looks like. It looks a little different from, oops, I can reduce it, from what you guys are used to in the call course. So I have tasks. There's always a table in every week. Tasks on the left, assignments on the right. What's the difference? Tasks are things that I ask you to read, click on, review. In addition, different from the call course, this course has mini lectures, because this course is much more content driven than the call course. With the call course, I can find tools all over the internet, but this one is a little different, okay? So in order for me to synthesize what this week is about, if we take needs assessment, needs assessment is not an easy concept to figure out, because it gets into the language needs. It gets into language proficiency. So I talk about models in there, and I kind of synthesize the information, and there are always some questions at the end, and then you are asked to respond to those questions, and that will be, you see, assignment 3. It says response to the mini lecture. You go to one of the discussion forums, and I will show you those, and just post the answer to the question. And again, these do not need to be pages long, okay? 1 paragraph is sufficient, okay? And then as you see, the typical assignment, reading, post summary and a reaction to the reading. And then assignment 5 is hands-on tasks. So this goes to the sharing forum then, okay? And I tell you what you need to do. So the first week, I can tell you, is pretty heavy.
it's my last week that I'm teaching.
Oh, okay.
I'll recover
Well,
after. It'll be fine.
I will make this as soon as I have checked all the links, and
You
these
can work
are,
on
these
it
are
in
easy
advance.
links because they're files in the files. But just like in the call course, there are lots and lots of links that I will have to check, to see if they're still working or not. So what is a bit time consuming here, but it shouldn't be once you figure out what you want to do. So Lucy, I have these are models written by your classmates from previous years.
Nice.
I do not have one for teaching Chinese, clearly, okay? So you might want to, I don't know what to suggest to you, but maybe foreign language learning, but it's English as a foreign language, okay? You will be testing the field here for everybody else. You'll be our pilot here.
Okay, thank you for the flexibility.
The what?
The flexibility to.
Oh yeah, that's how how I construct the call course. Okay, it's your needs. Build it around your needs. This one is very similar to that. Okay, because everybody comes with a different background and different goals, and so But I've got teacher training there. I've got ESP, English for Special Purposes. And maybe that is what you're doing, okay, but it is also foreign language teaching. Then there is teaching abroad. Then there's ESL in the US, okay? I have removed the names from these, but they are models, so they have been vetted heavily by me, okay? Very important caveat here that I need you guys to remember when you open these up in week 1. Melody and Lucy, you remember when you open up the model wikis, right?
Yeah.
And you went, oh my God, I will never be able to do something like that, right?
I just hear it's a lot of
Or
things. Yeah.
lots of stuff. You know, it's just too much. How can I possibly complete something like that in 15 weeks? Did it work?
Yes.
You did it, okay? And I'm almost finished grading, and Melody, I'm looking forward to grading yours. Everybody else is done, except Lucy, I still need to grade your PowerPoint, okay?
Oh, okay.
Talking about the core course, okay? So please remember when you look at these models, they are the final version of the portfolio project. So what you will be constructing in this course is 6 segments of a curriculum, and it will be a curriculum that begins with a background. Give me the background of your curriculum. It's going to be a proposed curriculum. It could be something that you will implement, would like to implement. It could be hypothetical. It could be fairly real. You know, it runs the gamut. So the first portion is context, the context that you think this will be in, the background, and the rationale. Why is there a curriculum needed? That is a very important, and that's a driving question, okay? Why is the curriculum needed? What, in other words, what is not working now in this context in which you are thinking of designing the curriculum? What needs to happen? What change needs to be made in order for something positive, a more effective curriculum to be designed? Okay, so you're kind of looking at the current situation, but you're also looking at the needs and looking forward. Why is a change necessary? So that's the first segment. And you know what? I'm going to go back to, so these are models. I think we're okay with those. You will be asked to look at the models, and they are fairly lengthy, 6 pieces, usually about 5 pages. They're written over the course of the semester. Usually you have 2 weeks to write one. You get peer reviewed. You revise. You should be revising as you get my feedback and your classmates' feedback. And then move on to the next piece. And then at the end, you put everything together. Okay? So, Melody, I'm going to go back to modules. Sorry, syllabus. Okay, you guys can read the course description. You probably already have. Course information is just basically the discussions. So 1 word on the discussions. I usually like to have, and you guys know this, the discussions end at noon on Saturday, giving you time, okay, as a working person.
Yeah.
You know, Friday night and Saturday morning.
That's great.
Okay. And I know that because, you know,
Yeah.
I've been through the ringer here. And then your course projects, the writing that you have to do is not due until Sunday midnight. So again, you have a little bit
that's
of time between Saturday and Sunday midnight to work on the projects. Okay? And that has worked pretty well. You can read the course goals yourselves, but I need to talk a little bit about the writing policy. Because this course is writing intensive. Any non-native speaker, Lucy, I would strongly suggest you work with the writing tutor. Okay? You will get feedback from your classmates, and it will be on writing as well as content.
Okay.
You will get feedback on me, and if you are not really solid on APA citations, you will be by the end of this course. Okay? It is an important component. So you do get sheets from me that show you how to cite, and Melody, you also remember, there were some issues with the citations in the, the call lesson plan, right? Everybody had to cite, and then there were some questions about how to cite properly. So there will be postings with handouts. Okay. Every piece that you submit to me in Canvas needs to follow those instructions there. There should be some identification. What section in a heading, what section are you working on? Is it the context, the rationale? Is it the needs analysis? Is it the environment analysis, what have you? And then very important is that you always begin with an introduction and end with a conclusion. That is good writing. Your introduction, just like all good writing, should have a thesis statement at the end of the introduction. So as you read the models, I want you to keep that in mind and look for those kinds of things. They are models for a good reason, not only for the content, but also for the writing. Okay? The conclusion should always summarize the results of what you found out. Not just a summary of what you did, but, what did you figure out here? And how does that lead to the next piece? Okay, remember you're writing the 6 pieces. So you finished the environment analysis. You have looked at all the stakeholders involved in this process, this curriculum process. Next would be, you need to focus more on the learners. Okay? So just look forward a little bit in your conclusion. The Writing Center coach is important, okay? And proofreading for grammar, writing, punctuation errors is critical. Question, because a lot of this is online, do all of you have Grammarly downloaded?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Okay, that might be something you want to consider. Are you a good writer anyway?
I did take the summer class and was with Alice, who graduated last summer. So we were briefed constantly on APA format with her.
Okay, good. You can also use the proofing tools and the spell checker in Word.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be fine. Grammarly works very well with discussions because they're on the internet.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't work with Word.
Okay. Is it a paid
No.
service?
No, free.
It's free.
The
You
basic.
can get the
Might
paid
as well
version.
take a look at it.
Get the free version.
Yeah.
Okay. I have it in there because sometimes I misspell, and it flags things.
I
Okay.
have a French parallel. It's called Bon Patron.
Oh.
I use.
I have something in German, so one thing I forgot to mention, I'm a native German, so And sometimes it checks my English with the German, and usually not, but, okay. Your projects, each of those segments will be worth, what does it say?
4%?
4%, right. Where did you see that? Yes.
It's
I
in
see it,
red.
right in the
I'm
middle.
struggling
Yeah,
with my
exactly.
contacts, but I can
Yeah, no, that's it. And they will be peer reviewed, so each peer that reviews will get 1 point for the peer review, okay? And it's usually just, here is the thing, I've read it, and there is a rubric. Each piece has a rubric, and you use that rubric. It's the same rubric that I use, and you put in some comments into the rubric, okay? It's a good guideline as to, what needs to be fixed. Okay. So here are the segments. I scrolled down, Melody, to, what does it say? Segments, components of the course project. So the first one is that context and background information and the rationale. The second one is an environment situation that looks at the needs of various stakeholders, and that's not just the students and the teachers, it's the larger context around it. It's the school, it's the administrators. When I have students from another country, it's often the ministry. Okay, so Lucy, that might be something for you to consider, are you writing this for the Chinese context or the American context, okay? Probably the American context, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you might have to look at, hypothetical situation of what regulations are there. I don't know. And then the next one is a needs analysis, and there you need to look at standards, okay? Are you familiar with the CEFR framework, the Common European Framework of Reference? You are, Lucy, and Melody, are you familiar with the CEFR, I think?
Yes, I
Yes.
reference them a lot when I was teaching.
Yeah.
so,
Well, you're going to be very familiar with it, okay? And Diana here will be. That's one of the standards that you can use to decide whether the student is an intermediate learner or an advanced learner or a beginner. Okay, so that's part of the needs analysis. It's not just what does your student need in terms of grammar, vocabulary, but what proficiency level is the student at. Then we're going to start the actual curriculum writing, and a curriculum has a mission statement, it has goals, and then possible courses. So what we're doing, guys, is we're doing a circle. We start with a larger context that this project fits into. We look at the environment around it, then we focus on the learner, so it's like a circle moving inward. And now we're at the point where we're going to look at courses. Then the next step is to look at one course, not 3 courses. You're just going to list 3 courses, but you're going to look at one course and in more detail tell me about this course. What is the syllabus in the course description, and very importantly, a 10-hour lesson plan. Okay, what does 10 hours mean? It could mean 10 60-minute periods, 10 class periods, okay? So it does mean 10 hours, pretty much 60 minutes, okay? But it could be 50. You have to have activities, materials, and assessments planned, and you will just list them. I do not require that you actually develop any of those, but you just list them. That shows me enough that you have thought about how they fit together, and then very importantly, how these pieces are assessed, okay? Because what I have found, and you have heard this from me, Lucy and Melody, assessment is a tough area, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a comment that I should move the rubric, the development of a rubric, to a week that you guys have more time to develop it. So you will be asked to write down, okay, I'm going to assess this with a rubric. You do not need to develop a rubric for me. There is an extra credit assignment if you do, but What I want to see is just a criteria. You know, I trust that you guys are, you know how to develop a rubric, but I just want to see the criteria listed, okay? And then lastly is a testing plan. So how do you test your learners at the beginning, at entry of a program, and at exit? In addition, part of curriculum planning and design is an evaluation of the whole program, okay? So that is something I ask you to develop, okay? You have models for everything you do. More than you, I do get feedback that there are so many things to look at, but I want you to be careful that you look at them and decide which ones are appropriate for your needs, okay? Okay, let's see what else I need to discuss. I'm going to go back to the modules. And so I just wanted to show you how each week looks, and Lucy and Melody already know this. In an online course, it's important that every week looks the same. It has to be predictable. So each week, we may have a web conference 3 times only, okay? So that's not a piece everywhere. But there's always the week with the tasks and assignments, followed by reading selections where you tell me which chapter you chose. And that's all you have to do there. And then you go back, and then there's a reading discussion forum. You guys know what that looks like. You discuss, okay? Then there is a sharing what you learned forum. In the first week, we have 2, I think. And the first one is the task. It is moderated because we have a moderator there. But then there's one for the mini lecture. That doesn't need to be moderated, okay? So you just post your response. And then there's a professor's office. Lucy and Melody know what this is. If you have a question, this is public. Public meaning all course participants can see it. You can post your question there and I answer. And that's usually the first one that I check, okay? Virtual cafe for students is where you want to hang out and discuss something if you like, okay? So that's that. Oh, one more thing I have here. I mentioned peer reviews. Melody and Lucy, this is something we learned, how to comment, how to use track changes in Word. Have you used track changes, Diana?
I use all Google stuff at school. I did Alice and I were partners editing each other's papers with Word, and I had a heck of a time printing without all of her comments on. I don't know. Okay. You would prefer that we're doing these in Word?
When you review each other's papers, yes, I would prefer Word. Google Docs would be okay. It's just easier in the assignments because a Google Doc is a link. It works too, okay? I actually leave that up to you guys. Okay. If you want to do it in a Google Doc.
I do have Word with the new version on my computer at home. I'll take a look at it. Yeah. I was not able to figure that out in the summer.
I've got instructions in there. I've got videos how to do track changes and how to remove them.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
I should have. I did see your full website. I've used many of your links this fall.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I can't remember which ones, but I remember seeing it. It was like so much stuff. So
I just typed something in. The links that I have. That's one part of my website. There are more than 7,000 links. Yeah. Yeah, but this is just a little Google YouTube video. Okay. And if you ever have any questions about how to do something, go to YouTube and just put them in. Okay, so that's track changes. And yeah, the revisions have to be made for the final course project. So I only look at your segments once, give feedback, and then I won't see them until the final course project. Okay, yeah, I'm getting close to the end here. If you have any important questions, email me.
Okay.
You guys might have noticed that if you post a message in the professor's office, I will only see that when I enter Canvas. I am on email all day long. Unfortunately, that has gotten worse with the new job that I have. So if you want a quick answer, email me, okay? If it's not terribly urgent, I do get to the professor's office. So next week and in the coming weeks, even though you're off, and I wish I were off, I'm going to email you a questionnaire with some more detailed information about your background, okay? And then I also need some contact information. You guys can, Melody and Lucy, you can copy and paste, or if you don't want it, I can go and copy and paste. It's not a big deal, I have that. And the self-assessment, were you successful in Sean's course?
Yeah.
I take it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I need the self-assessment. I have it from Lucy and Melody, and Nancy was also in Sean's course.
Yes.
So I suppose she was successful as well.
She and Melody are both wonderful writers.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Yeah, so the self-assessment is, how, what you take into an online course and what you need to have in an online course. So, a little bit of autonomy. Definitely, you need to be a visual learner because there's a lot of text. Okay. So I will remove that. That'll make it a little bit easier. Okay, questions, guys?
I'm just thinking about you and the teaching Chinese. So I currently teach French, but I would like to be teaching English because it's a part-time job. So I'm kind of wondering, if I'm not working, do you think it would be absolutely too much if I tried to sort of do a parallel? Because I don't really have an English context to think of. It would have to be somewhat, I don't know. I don't know what locally.
You mentioned that you're the ESL teacher.
I was,
You
but she
were.
came back. She had a baby. She was gone for almost 2 years.
All right.
Yeah,
So during those 2 years, you taught ESL.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I have the endorsement. That's why I've come back to complete the degree.
So one thing you could do is think of your current situation at the school where you are, and it's probably in some ways typical, okay? What is not working? Okay, do you have a curriculum for all the students at all the levels?
No, there's no curriculum at all for the ELL.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and Diana, that is a typical answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I could orient it to based on that situation, but a more kind of a low incidence. There's many schools that will be like the ones that I currently work in, that you just end up helping everyone with their whatever they're struggling with.
Yeah.
You become more of a
problem solver
and writing coach than anything else.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So you could definitely do that, okay? Melody, have you been thinking about this?
I have. I'm interested in maybe developing a curriculum for business English.
Yeah.
Does that interest me?
That's what I
To be
thought.
honest, I've been really busy and I haven't put much detailed thought into it yet.
Yeah. So you might then want to look at the ESP version there, and I can tell the first one there is by Janet Licio. Do you guys know her?
I don't, but I saw that she just gave her
She
thesis
just graduated.
defense.
Yeah, and she defended her thesis. Yeah, and she was in this course 3 years ago, and it was only her second course in the MAT Sol. And I thought this wouldn't
It's
be
very
possible.
brave.
But oh yes, was she brave? Oh my God. So anyway, she designed this proposal for a freelance ESP company focusing on medical communication, business, and tourism. Yeah, and there's one curriculum proposal for business English for working professionals. Okay, so there are a couple for you to read. And Lucy, we'll have to see where you fit in. EFL abroad. What kind of Chinese are you planning to teach? Like beginners, intermediate?
I have taught at all levels, so
Mhm.
it's not.
And this
really-
curriculum,
Uh-huh.
you would want to focus.
Yeah, because I have more experience teaching the elementary level and intermediate levels, but I want to develop more at advanced levels.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
Mm.
that's the area I kind of didn't really teach a
Yeah.
lot in the past, and also.
Like your culture course, that and
Uh,
history.
Yeah, that one is sometimes they want to have that ability to give an introductory level Chinese
Okay.
culture. It's
It's not a course. then.
yeah, I mean it's not the language course. It's
Right.
more like
Well,
history
I'm
and-
not saying that
yeah.
it has to be a language
Oh,
curriculum.
okay.
Okay, it could be whatever you
Uh-huh.
find you have a need for.
okay. I think
Okay.
more advanced level because like more advanced level they have specialized focus. Still many courses they are learning language, but they already have focus.
Yeah.
So I think that I will do
Okay.
something like that.
There will be a time later down the road, you know, when you do your
Uh-huh.
syllabus, that you're going to have to look at some textbooks as well.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, that is part of it, but not at the very beginning.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, so I looked at this one here.
Mm.
I had a Chinese student, I think, 2 years ago, for, I don't know how you pronounce the university.
I think it's Yichuan, but I have no idea which university it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so academic English for non-English majors. Yeah, that might be a good one to look at.
I don't think
Academic.
it's a public university.
It probably isn't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's a.
Okay, and
Mhm.
she and her husband, she has an American husband. They have just now moved to Shenzhen University.
What is Li Kun or
What?
KK? Whether her
Yes.
name is KK?
Yeah, it's KK. Did you know
okay.
KK?
Yeah, I don't think. Why I took my linguistic class while in the same class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so one more thing that I have here in task 5 is examples of curricula.
Mhm.
Not that you guys have to look at all the links, okay? But I want you, I mean, this was my research, and of course I have to check to make sure that they're still working. English as a foreign language. I do not have anything on Chinese, Lucy, so you're kind of on your own with that one.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But look at it as a path-breaking
Yeah.
endeavor, okay? Intensive English, of course, there's a lot. English for special purposes, there's quite a bit.
Oh, there's a K-12.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and I'm gonna look, I think I have K through 12 models.
I guess the thing I'll have to decide then is that would be easier to do a parallel French that I know I could use next fall.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to get out of this, I have to really think about that.
Yes.
I met someone in the summer at the poster presentation who wanted to do a community program in the Middlebury area. And I haven't connected with her, but the parents of the kids that I taught
Okay.
They don't have any. They're not making a lot of progress. I heard the father answering yes to every question at a community event that he was asked by someone else, and I knew that 50% were.
Yeah, that's refugees.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have one for?
Well, what I have here in the EFL, there was somebody, trying to remember her name. She was a French teacher, but ended up designing a curriculum, but I don't think it's one of the models. You know, to be a model,
Okay.
it has to be really good in
Yeah.
writing. And sometimes I find there are just too many errors.
Well, I'll look through
There's
it.
middle school,
Yep.
Fulbright, outdoor education, that was an interesting one.
That was James?
I believe that is James's, yes. Yeah. And I had one, but it didn't become a model because he didn't go back and fix all the things. You know, once they're done at the end, you know, and I would like it as a model, I would then ask you to go and fix some things. It was on with migrant workers.
Oh, yeah. That
It
would be really
was-
interesting.
Yeah, so I have it, you know,
Yeah.
I can make it available, but with a caveat.
Okay, I need to contemplate this. Yeah.
Right. And this is why I'm holding this orientation, you know, not just for the course. I mean, you guys know what an online course looks like and how it works, but so that you guys start thinking about it. Okay? Any other questions?
No, currently.
Yeah. So if you do Chinese at the more advanced level, think about the context. Where would this be? Would it be at a university? That's going to make a big difference, you know, versus an adult learning center or something like that, or community college. It's different. Okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. Doing okay, Melody?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Yeah, it is 17 minutes after 11.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'll be in touch next week with a questionnaire to fill out. It's a Google form. You, Melody, and Lucy, you know what it's gonna look like, okay? All right, so we'll say goodnight.
Thank you.
Bye, Melody.
Melody.